And now our final speaker is Chenrui Fan from the University of Bern, and he's going to tell us about federated learning in multivariate time series for data distillation. So, Chenrui, the floor is yours.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you see my screen?
And no, we can't see your screen.
So you cannot see my slides, right?
No. Can you try sharing again?
Okay. Still not yet? Okay.
I can see it then. I can see that. Perfect.
Yeah. Thanks for flower.ai that invited me to do this presentation to introduce our work, the Federated Time Series, generation on future and temporally misaligned data. So this work is done by me and my coworker and also a co-worker from University of Bern, TU Delft, and also from the Neuchâtel. So yeah, so let me start. So let me start with a quick motivation of why time series generation is hard in federated settings. So time series data is fundamental to many real-world applications, such as patient monitoring in hospitals and the financial trend analysis and the industrial IoT system. So in many of these settings, different organizations like hospitals or banks cannot share raw data due to privacy laws or competitive concerns. Then we know that federated learning is a promising solution because it allows us to collaboratively train models without centralizing data. But however, in practice, federated time series data is rarely clean. Why? That's because first, feature misalignment occurs when clients collect different subsets of features. And for example, like in there's two hospital A and 2, and the first hospital only record blood pressure and temperature, but the second hospital records like a heart rate or other information. So like here, the client one, could you see my mouse, the cursor?
Yeah, we can see it, yes.
Yeah, okay. So the client one only have the feature A, B, C, and client two have the A, B, D, E. So in the feature level, they cannot align. And the second, temporal misalignment is common because clients collect data over different time periods or at different sampling rates. So for example, here, this client one from 16 to 744, but client two from 2000 to 3000 and so on. So this is another problem. So finally, missing values due to sensor failure, which is very common in the time series. So this is very different from the tabular data with the time series. So to solve this, to the three problems, we need to think about some methods. So in our setting, so each client is on time series data, but they differ in two important ways. First, the time window are misaligned. One client might collect data from 16 to 744, one from another time step. There's no common time axis. Second, the feature sets are not the same. So one have some data, but not some other ones. And also, maybe we can collect some public data from the public data set. And in the public data set, there is feature A and B. That is, we can call it common features. But there is some other features that only the client itself have, like the feature F, feature C. Those features are very private. They don't want to share it. So they cannot do the feature alignment. So these issues, feature misalignment, temporal misalignment, and also the missing data make the collaborative generation in a federated setting extremely challenging. And why we need to think about a new method to solve this. Let's look at why existing federated generative models fall short in a real-world time series setting. So there is a few methods. And the vertical FAL models like the GTV and the DGP-DAN assume that all clients share the same samples or time steps, but have different features. So they handle feature misalignment, but not temporal misalignment. Horizontal FAL methods, such as the FAT-GAN and the times-to-times GAN, assume clients have the same features but different samples, meaning that they can address temporal misalignment, but not feature mismatches. Then the VFL GAN TS is also vertical and can handle feature misalignment, but again assumes aligned time steps. So none of these methods are designed to handle both types of misalignment, especially in the presence of missing values and strict privacy requirements. This is a gap our method, FAT-TDD, aims to address. So then we share our new method, the FAT-TDD. The federated learning in multivariate time series via data distillation. So to address the challenge of double misalignment, we introduced FAT-TDD, a hybrid federated learning framework that uses diffusion models in a novel way. So instead of sharing the model parameter or even the real data, we share the synthetic common features, which still allowing knowledge transfer. The framework has two main modules. First is about the distiller. The global distiller trained on public dataset and also on the synthetic outputs, learning to impute missing common features. And second, the imputer to reconstruct its exclusive features guided by the improved common features. This process repeats over multiple runs. The distiller gets stronger, and in turn, each client can better impute its local data. And I will introduce each module step by step, so don't worry about this structure. So in the first step, is this blocking? Okay. The first step, the coordinator uses a publicly available dataset that contains only common features. So you can see here, there is a blue feature and the orange feature, right? So we can call it A and B, and they exist in the public dataset. Then the distiller will train on this dataset that it learns to reconstruct the clean time series by reversing added noise. So you can see it is a traditional DDPM training framework. Then after we got the distiller, we will distribute the trained distiller to each client. Then each client will get the distiller locally. And what's next? Distiller, each client now runs the distiller locally in a backward denoising process. Given partially observed common features, the distiller fills in the missing values through conditional sampling. So this step ensures that each client have a complete versions of A and B. So let's look at the graph. So you can see there is a blue and the orange, and also the green and red features, right? After the distiller imputation, we have a complete blue and orange feature, but the red and the green is still missing. But don't worry, we will find out how to deal with them. And the fourth step, in this step, each client uses the complete common features A and B, and as an auxiliary input to impute the missing exclusive features. So why we call it is auxiliary input? Because those are the synthetic data. Yeah, you can see those imputation is some synthetic data, but these have some information from the public dataset. So the distiller is trying to transfer the knowledge from the public dataset to each client. Then each client can use those information to do the imputation of on the green and red time series. So yeah, once these values are imputed, we combine them with the real data, and then we initially apply the untrained local imputer to get a first pass estimation. So this is initialized with random weights. In our settings, we initialize this with the pre-trained model. Then we got the imputer, and we do the first pass to get the complete the synthetic time series. And we combine it with the real data. And then we got this, and we use this to train the model. So after the training, the imputer is used as a generative model. Each client samples from noise and decodes into synthetic time series that include both shared and private features. This synthetic data acts as a proxy to share knowledge without exposing raw samples. So you can see here, the imputer after training, it can generate some synthetic data here, but it also have both have the common feature and also the private feature, the exclusive feature. So we can see the problem. We don't want to share the private feature. So what do we do? For privacy protection, each client only shares the synthetic values of common features like A and B. No exclusive features are sent, and no raw data is leaked. The coordinator then merges these synthetic common features into its public dataset for the next round. Then, each client sends the data to the public dataset. Then we have a new public dataset right after one round. And in the next round, the distiller will fine-tune on this dataset and get a new weights. And it will do this again, distribute its weights to each client and do the imputation again. And the imputer will also do the imputation and train on the new synthetic dataset, get a better weights. So that's all is about our structure. And about the experimental setup, we evaluate our framework on 5 datasets from diverse domains. Stocks and energy are financial and environmental datasets with seasonality and correlation. Musical comes from simulated physics, while fMRI is a highly complex brain singular dataset. For metrics, we use the context FID to measure global similarity between real and synthetic data, and the correlation score to assess whether relationships between features are preserved. We also include the discriminative and the predictive scores to test the realism and how well synthetic data can support downstream forecasting tasks. We compare against the 5 baselines include local owning and centralizing training, as well as pre-trained model using public dataset. So let's see the result. I need to explain the settings. You can see here, there is a file method. There is 2 centralized, one without, one without. So the first one is a perfect case. I mean that if there is a hospital, a company, or a cluster, a server, coordinator, or anything, they have all the features and there are no data missing. Like they have the data set, have feature A, feature B, feature C, and D, and there is no data missing. The perfect case, they don't need the federated learning, right? So they have the best results. And the second centralized means that we need to do the federated, but we can't. We only have feature A and B, and there is some data missing happens. So you can see the result is very bad. And local means that each client just train locally, do not do the federated learning. And pre-trained means that we have a pre-trained model on the public dataset, and we try to fine-tune it locally. And FedD is our method. So we can see that from this result, we know that compared to training local models in isolation, FedD improves context FID by 79% on average and the correlation score by 62%, showing that our framework can produce much more realistic and structured time series. And what's notable is that FedD performs almost as well as a centralized training, even though no raw data is ever shared. That is quite surprised because it how to say, give evidence that the cluster, the coordinator and the clients are learn something from each other without sharing any real data. So to summarize, FETD is the first federated generative model to explicitly address both feature and temporal misalignment in time series data. By combining diffusion models and data distillation, we enable collaborative learning without sharing raw data or model weights. And in the future, we aim to expand this framework to even more complex multi-resolution time series, incorporate differential privacy guarantees, and reduce communication costs in real-world deployment. Yeah. I think that's all. Thank you. And if you have any questions, I'm so happy to answer.
Yeah, I think super interesting work, and I think the results are really amazing. So I have some questions, but again, if the audience has questions, feel free to ask them or drop a message and I will try to read them. So my first question was, so you mentioned that the distiller has a public data set, that it is trained on a public data set.
Yes.
My question is, how does the choice of this public data set relate to the actual task you want to do? I guess it would matter if the time series is some financial data or if it's some, I don't know, sensor data, right? Or it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I understand. It must related to what you do, what you are doing. So in our case is that like some bank, some hospital, like you want to have a model, but you don't have much data and you want to learn something from the public data set. So you need to find a data set that fit your task. The domain has to be the same.
Oh, I see. Okay, so for example, for the 5 evaluations you have, like stocks, ETTH, Mujuko, and so on, you have 5 public data sets. So you can do the pre-training. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So while you were presenting, I was looking to the paper and I saw that there is, in figure 3, there is a cloud at the top that you call the coordinator, and there is some data. That data that the coordinator has is exactly this public data set we are talking about, right?
Oh, yes. Figure 3, yes.
Okay, interesting. I'm curious because, for example, I'm more familiar with, horizontal FL and doing not time series, doing other things like, LLMs or image and things like that. And typically, one of the things to do is to study how it scales the system when you have more clients or more non-ID setups.
Yeah.
Did you evaluate? Yeah, can you tell us a bit how big was your setup? How many clients were there? Is it realistic to evaluate 1,000 clients for this, or is not so common? Yeah.
So this is a very interesting question. So about the IID non-IID setting, it is wants to be a very hard problem in our thesis. Like, because we know the tabular data or sound data, they have labels. You can use labels to get different domain, different non-IID data set. You can set them, but in time series is very different. We don't have labels. We need to find a way to set the labels. What we do is that we use some k-means and PCA methods to label the time series to make them as different as possible. Then we have the label. We can have some non-ID setting, and we also test it. I don't know if we put it. I remember we put it in the thesis, so you can have a check. Sorry, it's almost 1 year, so
No worries, no worries.
I think
I mean, looks in the appendix there are a million of results, so probably it's one of those. Very interesting. Another question also like a bit related. How long does it take, for example, to run all these experiments? Given that this is time series data, my thinking when I think about time series is that you use small models, everything is fast, but I wonder if because of the all the distiller pre-training that would take some time. So can you tell us a bit what compute you were using?
Okay. So it depends on the backbone. The backbone we use is the diffusion TS. So it is the DIT-based model. So it's a diffusion transformer model, right? So it's a little bit huge. And for each round, it will cost about 20 minutes. And you can change your backbone run. That depends on you. And because the distiller and the imputer only do the fine tuning on each round, so it did not take many time to do this. The full experiment, like around about 50 rounds, something cost about 10 hours.
Okay, well, not manageable. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I think this paper would be an amazing addition to the flower baselines collection. So if you're up to it, we can maybe sync offline. We can support you on whatever you need to. If you're interested, I think it would be quite cool.
Yeah.
If anyone is interested in learning more about your work or the previous speakers' work, like Christos or Eleni or Yang Gao, everyone is welcome to contact the speakers. So thank you again, Chenrui. I think it was super interesting work.